Hello, and welcome to the Magic Moments podcast with myself, Dan Harvey, and my wife, Kizzy Harvey. In these podcasts, we seek to discuss, debate, and learn about the things that truly matter. These conversations are meant for a mature audience, as is the language. If you have a delicate mentality or sensitive ears, you may be triggered. All views expressed here are our own opinions, even when quoting facts, and we do not expect you to take what is said here at face value. All information should be critically assessed and researched before coming to a final conclusion. Your personal intuition always takes primary importance. And finally, while we encourage debate and discussion in the truth discovery process, being disrespectful or being unreasonably disruptive will not be tolerated. Words are powerful, words can change your life, and once you see, you cannot unsee.
Hello.
Hello, Magic Moment observers.
No. Oh, yeah, magic. I really got it wrong again. I was like, no, it's mindset magic.
No, I was right in the first place. Hello, Sylvia. Hello, Kathy.
Happy firework day, bonfire night, whatever it is.
Yes, happy
Firework day.
bonfire night.
Bonfire night. Okay, Hunter, yes, because he's been poorly sick. He is better. He's still really snotty, and actually he's given me the snot. So I'm just about to put on some little pot of Magick because my sinuses, I've got a bit of a headache. So this should help me get through the podcast.
Hello, Kelly.
Hi Kelly. Yeah, so he's better now, and he's like bouncing.
He's literally bouncing on the spot now because there's so much energy contained in his body. He can't not move.
Yeah. But
because he's been in for like 3 or 4 days non-stop, so that's a lot for him. He's normally out every single day.
It's longer than that. He's been ill since Monday night.
Yeah.
And it's now Sunday.
So he's barely been out since then, when normally he's out every day, all day.
Oh, it already feels better.
Oh, someone loves pot magic.
Oh, yeah.
It is really good for headaches, so I'm told.
Well, so yeah, you don't get headaches.
I don't actually don't get them, no.
So here's a secret about well, not a secret about Little Pot of Magic. Here's a secret that I'm gonna say. So when I first ever tried it, the first headache I ever tried it on, I felt like it didn't really work. But I don't really know what. Anyway, I tried it again. Yeah, and like now it won't stop working, if you know what I mean. Like I've never had a repeat of that first time. So I don't know if I was expecting like my head to float or so. I don't know.
Your head to float.
You know, I don't know what I was. Maybe I did it with a migraine. But yeah, it's been brilliant.
Herbs on the Hill. You can get it from Kizzy.
Oh yeah, you can get it from me. Bit of product placement there.
Yeah, well done.
We should start a QVC channel.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh, and I might need to blow my nose, so I do apologise about that because when we were doing a practice, our first ever setting all this up, I blew my nose a lot because we weren't well, and Dan was like, "You're not ever going to do that on the thing, are you?" And I'm like,
no one hear what's going on. Emily says she had the same. And what is it? I suffer with migraines, and the first time I tried it, I really wasn't sure, but I love it now. So there you go.
It's so bizarre. Like honestly, like a couple of the nights this week with Hunter, because I've been sleeping in a chair and he's been sleeping in my bed, and I've been working late, haven't I? And my eyes and my head. And literally, like, and I go and put it on and I forget sometimes. And then I do it. I'm like, why? Why have I suffered for the last half hour or whatever? Anyway, not here to talk about Little Pot of Magic. So, guys, couple of things. If you're watching on catch up, please pop it in the comments. It's good to see who's watching us, how many are watching us, and also it helps other people see it when you join in with the comments. So do please join in as much as you can. If you want us to discuss anything, talk about anything, anything around mental health, mindset, psychology,
Philosophy.
conspiracy theories, then please pop either of us a message. And if you appreciate us, then please do hit the share button.
And you can always buy Hunter a lovely hot chocolate on Ko-Fi.
Well, you're going to do that at the end, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, right. I think that's what. Did you have any disclaimers? I've done my blow nose disclaimer.
No, I have all my disclaimers are in the intro, so just watch the intro. That's all my disclaimers.
Okay. No, Laura, I can see your name, darling. We're good. I've changed what we're doing so that I can see names rather than Facebook users. So
yeah, we can see all the names today.
We're good
because we haven't put it in the Magic. No, I got a bit.
Mindset Magic.
Mindset Magic. We haven't put it in the Mindset Magic group. We're going to share it into the group after, rather than do a live straight into the group, because that's where we get all the Facebook users from. Because Kizzy does all the things.
I do. I believe it or not, I do all the tech stuff.
You do all the tech
I'm
stuff.
actually the tech support here. Also another secret. Look at my slippers. This is what's really good about doing this. You can wear slippers and no one knows, but now everyone knows.
Okay.
Right. Anyway,
Pip's watching.
Hi, Pip. Right, go, Dan.
Okay, so obviously today, because I think Kizzy put it out there, we're going to do love language. Some of you may have heard of this. Some of you may not have heard of this at all. Don't worry, because we're going to explain either way.
Well, do you know what? It was quite did you watch it? The video I made?
Yeah.
It was like a cryptic video saying, like, it started with romance, didn't it? And then it moved in with dramatic music to like what could be causing problems.
It was incredible. The production value was immense. So
I'm proud of it. I'm rubbish at stuff like that. Right, yes.
So obviously the question is, what is love language? So love language is between any two people and is not specific to a partner. It could be called affection language, and that's me putting that in there. But it's what makes you feel warm and fuzzy. So it's how you try to express how you feel about another person. Okay. So it's an expression of love, of affection, and in doing so, it makes you feel good when you're expressing that. Or if you're on the receiving end, you feel good, warm and fuzzy, right? So it's not something to do with the brain, it's something to do with feelings, okay? So expression can differ between the sexes and between personality types. So we're just speaking in broad kind of terms here, okay? So there are 5 different types of love language, and we're going to obviously go through them. Or love expression and understanding, you could call it. And we all have a primary and secondary preference. Okay, so you all have a number 1, which is your most important. You have a secondary, which is also important, and then the other ones don't really matter so much, especially the one that's last. What was you going to say? Because I heard you go.
I was just going to say, does anyone know their love language?
Yeah, if you know your love language already, put it up there now, if you don't mind sharing.
As we go through, feel free. We're going to ask, aren't we, before we reveal what ours are, if you can guess what ours are. So probably easier for me because you guys probably know me a little bit better.
Well, I'm probably easier for the people who are not strangers to this. Anyone who pops up randomly and watches this might struggle. We realise that. But for anyone who knows either one of us or both of us, then you've got an advantage here. There's no prizes, so
it's 1 in 5, so yeah. It's it's pretty good odds.
Well, I find this information very important. Okay, one of the most important things, and I'm interested in psychology, and this is out of all the psychological testings and all the things you can do to find out stuff about yourself. I find this one of the most practical and useful things and easy to remember things out of all of the things that I've ever encountered.
And at the end, we're going to talk about how it's helped our relationship.
How it's affected us, yeah.
How it's saved our relationship, for sure.
Yes, a little bit dramatic, but I'll go with it. Yeah, it's a podcast. Yeah, it saved us from certain doom.
Well, we did.
We had resentments and troubles in the early part of our relationship, and that was when we did not know each other's love language.
And we split, didn't we?
We did briefly split.
For a little bit. And so, yeah, knowing our love language now, it removes a lot of frustration, doesn't it? And a lot of misunderstandings.
So instead of blaming the individual person, what you then do is understand someone's love language and how they're going to respond and going to be and how they see things. And you also know your love language, and so you can understand your frustration, but not from your own eyes, but from watching it rather than being in it. And when you're watching it and not being in it and have that degree of separation, it can really help balance your emotions, let's say, so that any sort of negative situations which occur, you can deal with a lot better. And you can also appreciate the positives a lot more, I would say.
Emily said, are there any books you recommend on love languages? So if you want the links to the quiz, so we're going to go through them and you might get a sense of what you are from what we say. But then there's a link to a quiz we can send, and I can send a link to a book. So just put link in the comments, and then I should come back and do that tomorrow for you guys, or later on if I'm still up.
Yes. If you're still conscious. You
Yeah,
had a busy cooking day, but
I have had a busy cooking day, which actually links with my love language.
It does. Oh, that's a clue.
Ooh.
That's a clue.
Oh, man.
Don't tell them that's a clue. Right. You just highlighted the clue. Okay.
Right, go on then. You go.
Okay, I'm going to start off with what apparently this one is the slight edge in terms of the amount of people who have this love language, right? Believe it or not, this is the highest one.
Is it?
Percentage-wise, yeah. Only narrowly. Words of affirmation, okay? So by this we mean verbal or written compliments, more likely verbal, and expressions of love, and in brackets, affection, reassurances, verbal appreciation, and praise. So if you're someone who really feels warm and fuzzy when someone tells them they've done a great job, or praises them for something they've done, or you're a great this or a great that, or you're good at doing this or good at doing that, and I really appreciate you for this. If that gives you the warm fuzzies, then this could be what your top 2 love language.
Or like if you buy a gift for someone and they don't say thank you, or
that's upsetting.
Yeah, or like you look to receive that validation through words.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that, so I'm going to do the flip side. Hey Joey, the flip side of that is really if you're a little bit sensitive, if you find criticism hard. We all find criticism hard, but for this is because, so I'll give you an example. So person A, Dan said I've got to use codes.
Yeah, don't use people's names.
Rather than people's names. So we have a friend, and
we have person A.
We have person A, and their love language is words of affirmation. So we've had this conversation with them. They've done the quiz. We found out the words of affirmation, and then it made sense as to being such a blunt person and Dan being
blunter.
Blunt and
blunter we are.
Blunt and blunter.
Yeah. We've got Hunter and we're blunter. Sorry.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes come out all the time, don't they?
Cheesy.
I love them.
There should be like a dad joke, like
blunt, hunt, and
no,
blunter,
no, stop,
hunter.
Stop. It's all gonna go wrong in a minute.
Okay.
You're gonna say a bad word. Yeah. So us being blunt and blunter, we found out that by us just being honest about some things, and it wasn't nasty things. It was
just being honest about anything.
A situation, yeah. That person A, was internalizing that, and that's because it was their love language. So
now, just to obviously contrast that, if that wasn't your love language, right, and you said that, it might be water off a duck's back. Don't care. Like if words of affirmation was last out of your top 5, that you wouldn't even probably notice what was being said to you, or it wouldn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. It wouldn't upset you. What?
I just had a light bulb moment.
Did you? And that's made you do jazz hands?
Well, I nearly spilt my tea, which is more important. Jazz hands. So, I'm going to say it. So clearly words of affirmations isn't my love language. I'm just, now you're down to 1 in 4 chances. So I've never been affected by trolls. Like, I'm just not that bothered.
No, or me.
And neither are you. So,
Oh, another clue. No, I'm not affected by words whatsoever. Really, it's quite low down. Well, it's not at the bottom. I would say, but it's quite low down.
yeah. So that'd be why. And I've also just realised a bullying incident. Why that hurt me. I might even bring that up.
Okay.
I'm going to write it down on my list if we've got time, because you tend to waffle on and then we just run over.
Okay. Emily says, do things like being empathetic affect your love language?
No.
No.
But if your words of affirmation, that might be too blunt. That's a good point. But no, you can. Your empathy is separate, right? And is weaved through what your love language is. So
I would be interested to know and investigate whether you're born with love language or love language develops due to maybe attachment to parents or attachment to parental figures. That'd be interesting to understand and learn. And I might do that at some point. But anyway, let's get back to this.
Oh, and though, what would also be interesting is it driven by what your parents do, how they express their love to you?
Yeah, does that imprint on you?
Yeah, so that,
or is it so closely tied to your own personality that
Yeah.
that is the foremost? That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, but no, Emily, being an empath is totally separate. But what you might have once you know your love language is an understanding of the things that hurt you more, the things that you struggle with as an empath more.
I would think empathy might be an amplifier to what you like or
Yes,
dislike.
That's what I meant.
I would think it would work in that way.
Yeah.
For empathy. So that's words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got words of affirmation that are all great and warm and fuzzy, or the lack thereof makes you feel upset, angry, unappreciated. Okay. So number 2 then is acts of service. By this we mean any acts that eases the burden of work or responsibility, doing work or chores for someone to cheer them up or to make them happy. For example, the dishes, the washing, the shopping, taking the bins out, all that kind of stuff. So daily chores, we all have our daily things we've got to do. If someone came and did those for you, it was a surprise, that would make you feel warm and fuzzy. If that makes you feel warm and fuzzy, then that is one of your love languages in your top 2. If you appreciate it, but it doesn't make you feel all warm, and like you like it, great, then it's not in your top 2. Yeah. So that's a mental appreciation is great, but we're talking about feelings here. What makes you feel? So it's not that.
Or like if somebody helps you, or like if they go and like get something for you, basically if they do something for you.
Yeah, if they're a skivvy. So you can tell it's not my love language. There's another clue.
You're eliminating them one by one.
I'm helping you a lot here. Yeah, if you're a skivvy for someone, yeah, does that?
If a person likes that.
Yes, enjoys
that.
If you're a skivvy enjoyer.
And then the other flip side of that is, so the dissatisfaction is, so it might be that, you come home from a weekend away and your partner hasn't thought about doing any of the dishes, and that really just,
or your chores have just piled up.
Yeah, and that irritates you. Or you might have stuff going on and your partner knows you're under pressure and you've got a list of things that you've got to do, and they don't offer to take anything off of your shoulders, and that leads you to feeling not just annoyed, like a next level, like neglected. Resentment. Yeah, you feel neglected, you feel, they must not love you if they're not offering to do that.
You might even feel mildly violent. Right.
Number 3,
quality time. So by this we mean the focused and undivided attention of the other person whilst doing trips away, days out, meals out, joint activities, creating memories. Is anything more precious than time? Is something that someone with this love language would say. So by this, as we're saying there, right, this is all about sharing memories and sharing time with the other person, to make unique memories between those two people as a sort of bonding thing, right? Now, if we're talking about partners here, then that's very obvious what we're talking about. But if you're talking like friends, that could be mate dates, you go out to do things together, and you like spending time together in each other's houses. Or it could be, if you're talking about kids here,
then this is your kid would always want you to take part in what they're doing. So they don't like to play alone. They'll want always play with you. So they always, you always have to play games together. They're not very good going solo. So quality time. Therefore, if we're looking at the negative aspect, if someone's got this love language, then they're going to be upset if you don't spend enough time with them. Quite simply, if you don't develop not just time but quality time, not you're in a crowd of people. It's got to be time between the person and the person doing a specific activity that you both enjoy and share memories from.
Yeah. So if you're somebody that has this as your love language, but your partner say doesn't, or your friend, no, let's say friend, talking a lot about partners here. So let's say friend. So your friend will think, oh, let's meet up, and when you get there, there's like 3 or 4 other friends.
Yes,
and
that's a good example.
Yeah, and that would be dissatisfying to you. You would feel slightly put out. And it's not that you don't like those other
you might even be just
people.
blatantly upset about it. You might even be angry about it. Like, I thought I was turning up to an event to be with you, but you brought these other people, so you don't value this time like I do.
Yeah.
That would come across, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if your love language is quality time.
If your love language is quality time. Yeah.
Or I know another one that would cause a rub, and that's things like using a mobile phone, like when you're supposed to be watching a film together, or eating a meal together, or like being not giving it full of a sort of attention.
So well, we're going to come back to all these stuff at the end, so there's some other things to say about it, but I'll come back to that at the end. We'll go to number 4, giving gifts. By this we mean tangible symbols that reflect your thoughtfulness, effort, love, and or affection. So if someone's got this love language, they'll often give you gifts. And to them, that means a lot, because they're spending the time and effort to think about what gift to get you, and the money, resources to get you that gift and present it to you. So if you were to, so I'll give you a recent example of this one for me, because I was talking about this with a colleague recently, and he was telling me how his wife was under pressure and going through a bit of a tough time, and his love language is obviously gifts. So what he thought to do was, I'm going to get her a bunch of flowers and cheer her up, and she'll really appreciate that and know that I'm thinking of her, and obviously I've taken the time to go and do this. And he was really upset that she didn't really make anything of it. She didn't really mention it or say much about it. And in the end, he got so upset that he just chucked the flowers in the bin. That is someone whose love language is gifts at the top. Because for me, I wouldn't even get the gift. Well, I'm giving it away again. I wouldn't even give the gift because I don't give a shit about gifts.
I always want to bleep you when you swear.
Yeah, but we're allowed. It's after 9 o'clock.
I know. Well, and so I've got a friend, person B.
Yeah. Different friend.
And she gives the most thoughtful gifts, and she gives gifts at really random times, not just birthdays, or like I could put on Facebook like like an horrendous day or something, and I could come home then to a gift. And so I know her love language is gifts. And so yeah, it's looking out for that. And for yourself, if you put a lot of effort and time into gifts, and you really have, it gives you a loving feeling to do that, then
to give,
then that will be your love language.
And I used to think of this gift love language as being like, I don't know, it was my least favorite, because I just think it's a bit like, oh, you're just going to spend money to fix a problem. But that's because I don't care about gifts. Really, it is about giving to another person, and that's just the way that they're doing it in a physical object. It is about giving, so it's actually quite a nice, if you're going to look at it in that way, it's quite a nice love language, because it's all about giving to someone else to make them feel good or better or whatever. But I did used to think quite negatively about it, I've got to admit.
Well, and often, because it's their love language, it's not really... it'd be a bit like your mate at work, person C. I don't know what flowers he bought, but if that's his love language, it's likely he knows what his wife's favorite flowers are, favorite color are. He would go that. So if you bought me flowers, like you just buy me any old thing that you find that you can get delivered.
Yeah, anything under 20 quid.
No offense, don't you?
Yeah.
But I bet it would. There'd be more. There'd be more to it. That you know. So
Yeah, because I don't value it. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to put time and effort into thinking about it because I really don't care about gifts. So when I give a gift, I'm terrible at giving gifts because I don't really know what to
Terrible.
get. I, 1 minute I might be a hit and buy Kizzy a laptop. The next minute I forget altogether and don't get anything. Like,
Yeah.
or it could be a DVD that is in French, like that one time.
Yeah, because it had Leonardo DiCaprio on
That
it.
was good enough, wasn't it?
Who I do think is fit. Yeah, Dan bought that for me, but it was in French.
I bought loads of Leonardo DiCaprio videos, like
Yeah, don't matter like the film.
a
like,
homage
Yeah.
to Leo.
Yeah.
But it was in French.
Yeah. Do you remember when you bought me Wii games that you wanted to play? Because we had a Wii one Christmas.
Yeah.
And what was the other funny one? Oh, that time that you got me an anniversary card to a special couple.
We are.
Yeah,
we are.
you're supposed to buy a wife card.
Yeah.
You bought to us.
So I don't pay much attention to detail. Now, what I'm going to say to you is, if you find out, maybe get your partner to do this, get your kids to do this, get anyone who will do it, get them to do this, right? Because if you know someone else's love language, you can think, oh, hang on, I don't need to think in my love language. I need to think in theirs. When I'm doing something for them, it's not about my love language, it's about theirs. So, okay, I'm not going to tell you because we're doing this at the end, but, I have to think, well, if Kizzy's love language is not this, I know it's that. Therefore, my present to her, if you like, my gift or my way of showing appreciation to her has got to be in her language so she understands it as I'm intending it. Even though it doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling giving it, it does in a way because I know it's reciprocated in that way.
It does more now, doesn't it? Now we have an understanding. I've definitely seen, even the last few years, I've seen an increase in you speaking my love language more.
Yes, because it's more of a conscious thought.
Yeah, and I think, but I think it's not just because you just want to keep me happy and quiet.
No,
but I think it's because it.
If you want to express appreciation, you've got to do it that way.
Yeah,
the way you understand it.
Yeah, and I think you get the feedback from it, like so. Then it does make you feel a bit more.
Absolutely,
warmer,
and you try to use my love language as well, so.
Yes, I'm very more conscious of your love language now, which we're going to talk about a big rub that happened with yours.
Here's another clue. Like me and Kizzy can just and if you've got gifts anywhere near the top of your love language, this won't make sense to you at all. But me and Kizzy could quite happily not buy each other a Christmas present, and it wouldn't bother us at all, would it? It's only for the opening, isn't it? For you, like if you just like to open something, but like. In terms of the gift content, it's not really of much value to you.
No, so my birthday, wasn't it? We went away for the weekend, and then you just allowed me free reign in Waterstones.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've got a joint bank account, and I mean, so it's kind of point there. But again, we probably would. I wonder if it makes a difference whether you have joint bank accounts.
What's that game show from a kid where the kids go around the house and ransack it?
Oh my God, Finders Keepers.
Finders Keepers. So when we go to Waterstones, it's like Finders Keepers. I say you've got 10 minutes, and she'll go ransack it and then come back with a large amount of books, and then that's you done, isn't it? That's your love language resolved.
Yeah.
So the last one, then, unless you've got another thing to say on it.
No.
The last one is physical touch. So by this we mean a touch which can be sexual or non-sexual. So that was an example of a non-sexual touch by Kizzy, I think. An arm around the shoulder, a cuddle, holding hands, a kiss, shoulder to cry on, using your body to display friendship, affection, or love. Because remember, this applies to all different people. So this is just that you hold your bodily space to be sacred, let's say. And so that is a boundary for you. So when you're expressing love, you might do it in a physical way. You okay, lover?
Yeah.
It might be like that kind of thing. Whereas someone who's non-physical would just be like one of the other ones, would be using one of the other ones to express it in that moment.
So, like, if you've got a partner, if they're always trying to cuddle you at inopportune moments, it might be, you're like trying to do the dishes or whatever. It might not be. I think if a man's
is physical touch, which I reckon it is quite often.
It can sometimes be mistaken as sexual. But
yeah,
it's
creepy,
not just sexual,
or even,
is it?
Yeah.
Now it might be if you're so you might have friends that like want to cuddle, you know, like you just they embrace you, don't they? And it matters.
Yeah, it's like any
or-
opportunity to oh, are you okay, or this,
Yeah.
or they're walking along holding the hand. Like it's any opportunity to touch, isn't it?
I wonder if Sonia's one of her love language feels touch, because she gives the most
Person
incredible
S.
because she gives the most incredible hugs. Like they're so huggy.
They're more like wrestling moves, aren't they?
Yeah, have you had one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm tactile. It's hard not to be. There you go. Oh, that could be a clue for you then.
So, can your love language make you and your partner incompatible? Oh yeah.
Well, not incompatible. And if you're aware of it, I think it's not incompatible. If you are not aware of what we're talking about now, and you're just constantly rubbing each other the wrong way and building resentment, then I can think over time it can potentially erode your relationship. You have to work really hard to keep it together. Whereas I think if you become aware of it, if your love language is different, you have to just be conscious of the love language and use it.
This is why we're covering this topic really as well, is because we feel it's so important, and it will elevate all your relationships. It will elevate romantic relationships, friendships, relationship with your children. Once you've got that awareness, you'll look at things slightly different for yourself and for that person. You know, like there's many a thing that I could say that Dan's done that is against me, like, but it's not. We
It's not
get
personal.
that now because our love languages are not compatible. Can your love language change? I was just researching this actually just before we hopped on. Yes, it can change over time as well. So that's
well, then that would seem to indicate that it's not born with then.
Yeah.
So it's impressioned upon you.
Yeah.
By people around you then.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd only just started looking into it, and then it was time to come on.
So Lainey says, I have a son that's so cuddly and one that isn't at all. So Hunter, we have this, well, we've only got one, but Hunter is cuddly. So we pretty much think he's physical touch. He's very cuddly and he's very tactile, and he likes always to be in physical connection with me or you, doesn't he? So he's always sitting on our laps. What he always used to do when he was a bit younger was when he was on his little tablet or he's watching something, he used to get my finger and hold my finger and use my finger to do all the pressing of the buttons. And so for half an hour, my finger's owned by him and he's just using it to press.
Well, and do you remember when he used to grab your hand and put it? He still does it now. So he makes you.
He did it tonight,
like a seatbelt, doesn't he? Now, interestingly about Hunter, actually, that we think this is his secondary, don't we? Love language.
Yeah.
So
physical touch. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the flip side of this is it took him 18 months before that boy would let me cuddle him. Would
because that's an
sit
important
back
boundary.
on me. Yeah. So if it wasn't his love language, he probably would have been freer physically, because he wouldn't. It wouldn't have mattered as much to him. But I mean, he used to sit like 4 feet away from me in the bed because he'd been let down by women, and he built an attachment with Dan initially and not me. It took ages for him to be physical with me, didn't it?
Yeah.
The only way he would allow me to show any physical affection to him was if he was pretending to be a dog.
And then
or
you could
cat.
stroke him.
Yeah, so he would come up and meow, or he would come up and woof, and then and it sounds odd, and he was only like 2.5.
That is really smart thing to do. So Hunter subconsciously is aware of his love language, his love needs, right? And he wants the physical touch, but he can't allow Kizzy to touch him. So he created a situation where it was allowed. He became a dog, so you can pet a dog because that's the rule, right? So he's following the rules of dogs. Dogs can be petted. So then he pretends to be the dog. He gets the physical attachment, but it's not to him, it's to the dog. So he keeps the separation and the safety on the wall. So that's what he did because of his love language and what he needed from us, but what he couldn't do. Now, I'm almost giving it away anyway, so I'm just going to carry on saying it. If you're paying attention, you would have worked out the love languages by now. But mine and Hunter's love languages are identical. So because of that, we easily get along and we easily make each other happy on a day-to-day basis. Because if I don't see him for a week, I'll miss him and he'll miss me. But he'll be all about mummy, mummy, mummy. But then if I have a few hours with him and we spend some time doing something together, right? And then he's sitting on my lap, and I'm looking at all the games he's playing, or he's doing some things, whatever. Then we're in physical connection, and we're spending lots of time together, and that's our love language. And within a few hours, it's 100% like we haven't been apart from each other. So that's how we bonded in the first place. We played toy trains together, and straight away we were best mates.
What, and you carried him?
And I carried him a lot. He used to want to be picked up a lot.
Now, see, big clip.
Which is comfort.
Yeah, so my love language is not physical touch. So I'll just say that. So I have to be really aware of being more physical with Hunter, because it's important.
Yeah, you consciously be physical with him, don't you?
Yeah, and vice versa. So as mad as it sounds, I mean, not that I would ever be violent with Hunter, but like, that would be, or someone whose love language is physical touch,
hitting.
Like if I slapped Dan, like that would be
mortal offense,
absolutely terrible, versus if I called him all the names under the sun.
She's called me all the names under the sun. It hasn't bothered me at all. I'm totally fine.
Yeah, because it's a boundary cross. So it's not only is it about love and expressing love, and that, I think it's how our needs are met.
Yeah.
And I think that this is what, once you now have this awareness, once you go away, so remember, if you want the link to the quiz and to some further reading, just put link in the comments and I'll message you. Once you discover this, then it will really make sense it will make a lot of things make a lot of sense, won't it?
So let me just go through some of these comments, because there's quite a few. If your love language is touch, is it always sexual or non-sexual? Can it be mixed? It's a mix. So it's dependent on the two people that you're talking about here. So it can be either one or the other. Do you think love language is affected by attachment issues? Yes, I do. I think attachment can play into it and enhance, or what's the opposite of enhance? Reduce?
Yeah.
Reduce a love language in priority. I think it can have a strong influence personally. Yeah, Laney's just saying that's so interesting. It is a role that protected him but got his love needs yet. So love language helps with boundaries too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if I was to cross Hunter's boundary, so we've never ever hit Hunter, laid a finger on him for any reason, right? If I was to all of a sudden hit Hunter because he'd done something he shouldn't be doing, not only would he be shocked, but he would take mortal offense and be extremely resentful that I'd laid a finger on him. And I know that from personal experience, because that's my love language.
Well, and when I touched you earlier, when we were talking about physical touch, it was funny actually. If someone rewinds and goes back once we're not live, you actually flinched. Like, not flinched as in I was going to affect you, but it annoyed you because it was a boundary cross.
Yes.
Because you were in the moment of talking.
I'm trying to talk.
You weren't being affectionate.
Get out my space.
Yeah. So, but we'll talk about. We're gonna reveal some things about our relationship, aren't we? That are gonna make Dan blush.
Well, she told me what them are. Yeah, it's okay. Link. Yeah,
I thought I saw another question, but I obviously didn't.
Yes.
Oh, boundaries. No, yeah.
Boundaries,
so
yeah.
if you're single, well, and not just if you're single, but as you move forward now, and once you know your love language, this tells you how to have your needs met and what you deserve. So I have better quality friendships because either I adapt to match our love languages if our love languages are different, or ultimately I tend to attract, like I just connect with people whose love languages are the same.
I think this is important because there's always going to be, whatever your love languages, there's always going to be someone with the exact reverse love languages, and those people is going to be hard to get on with no matter what. It's not a personal thing between you, as in, you just dislike that person. It's just that your love languages don't match to the point where you don't understand each other. You're on a different wavelength. No matter what you do, they're never going to be happy. No matter what they do, they don't make you happy. And you just have different love languages, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's just the way it is. You're just going to bump into those people. It's
And if you
inevitable.
can think of someone like that, where it's not that there's something about them you don't like there's some people we meet, isn't there? We don't vibe with them from like that, you know, they rub us up the wrong way with their personality. Take that off of the table. Is there someone that you know, you can see that they're a good person, you can see that they're a nice person, you can see they make a good friend, but they are not for you? Like, if there's someone like that, then you know, I would say that that's probably a love language thing. And do you know what I just thought, love? I wonder if they ever were to study, you know, when people have affairs in marriages, I wonder if you have an affair with somebody who speaks the same love language, because like that, then they
Versus
suddenly
your
meet.
partner doesn't.
Yeah, so suddenly your needs are being met. Like, so it feels like, I don't know. It was just a thought that flew into my head.
Can love language help with intimacy? Yes, it can. Like being aware of it, yeah.
If that's what you meant, yeah.
Yeah. Does it suggest personality disorder? No.
A mix of love languages.
No.
Everybody. So you'll see when you do when I send the link over to you guys, it will score all of them for you. So
yeah, it's not like you completely lack in any of them.
No. But you will have and like
yeah, it's more priority. Think of it like a priority.
Yeah. And is it yours or no? Not mine. Mine's like through the roof.
Mine didn't I have 0 on one of them?
Maybe
or 1 or something.
Yeah, maybe. But isn't your top 2 quite a similar number?
Yeah, very high compared to the rest.
Yeah, whereas mine, like my 1 is clear what my love language is, and my second is
quite a drop.
Yeah.
So there are like nuances. That's why I said we're talking about this in broad terms, because there are nuances when you compare it to your own personalities, and some people are like Kizzy particularly strong in 1 over the rest, whereas most people tend to be stronger in 2 over the rest. So you do have a primary and secondary.
So guys, have a guess.
You should have got it by now. We give some clues away, I think.
So pop down in the comments.
Yeah, what's my love language? What do you think?
So we'll just recap them: words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, gift giving, or physical touch. What do you think his primary love language is? And then obviously pop my name in the comments and guess what mine is. I mean, yours has been given away pretty much.
I've given mine away. I just can't help myself.
Yeah. And then if you think you know yours and you want to say mine, I think mine is, in the comments, then pop what you think yours is.
Be a sharer.
Yeah. So
sharing is caring.
I think I'm just checking I haven't forgotten anything.
While some people may or may not be doing that.
Oh no, can I talk?
Yes.
So the other thing that I wanted to say was, which is something I've only just started exploring, is if it's your love language and it helps your needs being met, it's about expressing that love language to yourself as well. So for example, love thyself. So for example, if your love language is words of affirmation, then if you talk a lot of smack talk to
like
yourself,
what we talked about last week,
yeah,
then that would affect you more. Sorry, go on. And so sorry, go on.
If your love language is quality time, then having how you value time means that what you do what you do with your time is important, and you might want to adjust that slightly to show yourself more care and love, because there might be a rub in your life where, because you know, you're just expending your time scrolling on Facebook or whatever, and actually that's not quality time for you either. So
if you're spending your time poorly, then you could be ruining your own life.
Poorly?
Not poorly as ill. Poorly as in...
I thought you meant poorly sick.
No.
Oh, well, no one's guessed.
No one wants to...
Go then.
No one knows.
So yours is?
So mine is quality time number 1 and physical touch number 2. So time really is the most important thing to me. And that was my phrase, obviously. There was a little clue.
Yes.
And yours is?
Oh, so mine is by a little
Landslide.
by a landslide is acts of service.
Yes.
And so we had a big issue in our relationship
Early on,
because
acts of service is low for me.
yeah, it's low for that. So he
Second bottom.
felt like he was my skivvy. Like anything he did for me wasn't through an expression of love. It was done with an edge of resentment, an edge of like rolly eyes.
Yes.
And doing something like that when it's my love language was like so upsetting.
I was like slapping her every time. So from my point of view, because acts of service is low on my thing, being asked to constantly do jobs, I'm treated like a skivvy is disrespectful, but also it's kind of like demeaning in a way. And also like, what's wrong with your own legs and your own bloody arms? Like, use them. Like, me and Kizzy are both very independent people, and I'm both put a high priority on freedom. And so it feels like my freedom has been taken away because all I'm here to do is serve Kizzy. So that's what it felt like in the beginning. Okay. Because my acts of service is very low and hers is at the top by a landslide.
Well, so my mum's love language was acts of service. So any of you that knew my mum, you will know, like, one of the things she would do stuff for others always. And if you know me, you'll know that I'm a doer of stuff for others. I mean, this sort of very podcast is, and you know, Mindset Magic is all around that. But so my mum, so that, you know, it comes up on memories every now and again. I'd be up in the office and my mum would send a cup of tea and a bacon sandwich up on the stair lift to me. And from Dan's perspective, that's like, oh, that's nice to be waited on. Like, you know, your mum does that for you because it's not his love language. For me, I felt loved, looked after. And so this was the issue. So, you know, through the years of being self-employed, I've had very, very busy moments of crazy things. Like when I ran events, you know, I'd have to make up like 250 goodie bags or whatever we were doing. And Dan would never help with that. And that felt like a lack of love, a lack of support, because my mum always would. And it wasn't that, it's not that I don't want to do stuff myself. It's that because I do stuff for you. So, like, I constantly tried to make you happy, didn't I, by doing stuff. So he'd come home from work and I would have, so I'd have like put all his clothes away. So rather than just putting them on the bed, or I would go and like get you something, wouldn't I? And like cook you something. But because we weren't the same love language, you didn't get that warm, fuzzy feeling.
No, but she thought she was given that warm, fuzzy feeling. So
Yeah.
then I'm not saying too much about it or not making a big enough fuss about it. And so then she just feels upset or resentful or like that it's not reciprocated. So that was like early on troubles, wasn't it, to do with all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and so like tonight, for example, so when you see us drinking our tea, there is probably no chance that I've made this tea.
No, I always make the tea.
Now, I'm not lazy, like, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, it's not that I'm lazy or I don't want to do it or I want to be waited on. It's that it it just means a lot to me.
I do worry she would die of dehydration if something happened to me because she really doesn't make a cup of tea for herself. It's quite rare. She makes one in the morning and that's about it. Then the rest of the day, I could come home from work and I'll make a tea, and she'd be, "Oh, that's me second tea or me first tea or whatever."
So when I was ill and I had an operation, you towelled me, didn't you, from a shower?
Yes.
So I couldn't.
She couldn't bend or move.
I couldn't move really. It's probably to do with my hand, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was. And so he towelled me like you would a child. And oh my God, I loved it so much. So then I'm begging him to do it. And he's horrified that I want to be towelled. Like, you viewed it as me being a princess, didn't you?
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It's because that absolutely like fed my needs. So I've
taken
got
on a job as a carer.
So I've got some friends that person whatever we're on now.
Person
R.
No, person D.
So we were friends, and then one day we were at an event and she went and got me a cup of tea. And like it was the thing that cemented the friendship for me. It was like I felt so much love from her because that was my love language.
Yeah.
And
when you know someone's love language and you use it, it is quite a, you know, these days that would be called a hack, right? Because
yeah.
you're basically using themselves against themselves. I mean, you could use this in Machiavellian ways, really. I mean, you could get up to all kinds of mischief, but I mean, you could definitely win friends and influence people if you know their love language. Emily's asking if you are the type of person that feels upset when someone doesn't notice the things you do for them and around the house, whatever. What does that come under? It's all of them. It's basically if your love language, whatever it may be, is failed to be recognized by the other person, the recipient of this, then that is going to feel that way.
So if you're doing stuff for them around the house, it's possibly acts of service. So like I'll do stuff for Dan, I'll and he just won't even notice, or like he'll be like, "Oh yeah,
I do nowadays."
yeah, you do more now." So let's talk about the rubs from my perspective. So how I got on Dan's nerves. So there's two things that stand out in my head.
You're going to tell me how you get on my nerves.
Well, no, I'm just going to tell the difference, but you can
Okay.
you can tell them how I get on your
I'll
nerves
chip in.
if you want. Yeah, you've got plenty to say, have you?
Got a few things I could mention, yeah.
So this is the one he's going to blush over. So his secondary love language is physical touch, so it's very important to him. So for me, physical touch is my bottom one, isn't it?
Yes.
Like
yes.
I'm very.
So it doesn't matter to her about physical touch. Like
I'm
it
very,
doesn't matter.
very low. So there's nothing about physical that means love to me. So I've always said if I had the right figure, I'd probably be a stripper. Like I've no embarrassment about my body. I don't. I could have and have had one night stands, like because it's irrelevant to me, in that way. And
it's not a matter of love.
No, and I'm not worried about cuddles or kisses or holding hands or anything like that. Because it doesn't make me feel loved. It just has no relevance to me. And so one day, Dan and I were going to have a bit of sexy time, and he went upstairs, and I was downstairs, and so when I went upstairs. He'd lit the candles and he'd
smooth
put some music on and he'd got some massage oil out, and literally all I wanted to do was piss myself, like, because for me she
wanted to piss all over my dreams.
I wanted the itch scratched, like I'm just like
she just wanted to slam dunk.
What are we going to say?
I wonder what I was going to say.
But
look, smooth, Dan, smooth. Yes, thank you.
See how many women would appreciate that. Like I felt
not
appreciating it. Like, but I literally was like, "What are you doing?" Horrified. But that's because it's important to him. And here's something interesting as well: we can never ever have makeup sex. So if we have an argument, and I go to him, if he turns me on when he's all angry at me, and I go
scouse,
and I go in for a bit. I mean, he used to lock himself in the bathroom.
Yeah,
no word of a lie.
No.
And I used to try and open the door with a 2p piece.
Yeah, yeah, no, because quality time and physical touch, boundaries, right? We were talking about boundaries earlier. Well, if I'm not happy with someone, I'm not letting them touch me, and I'm not spending any quality time with them. That means the other as well. It's quality time as far as I'm concerned.
Whereas me, I could, I probably would have been a porn star if I was born a size 8. Like, yes. I just don't physically.
And that made me understand how porn stars can do it without receiving some kind of psychological damage. But anyway, that's a separate subject. But anyway.
Well, yeah, that must horrify you as someone that's physical.
I couldn't understand that. No. But now I can understand it, because if you've got a very low priority physical touch, then it's just like a job for you. Like literally, you might as well be working in Tesco.
Well, who's been to more strip clubs?
You.
So yeah, it's that makes me sound like a pervert.
Who's been to more strip clubs then, eh? I've got quavers in my pocket.
But you haven't been, have you? Because it's you're not. It's something that makes you feel uncomfortable because it's your love language. We've established.
Well,
isn't it?
I don't know if those people in there are doing it because they have to do it, or because they want to do it. It's important. The difference between the two is really important. If they're there because they have to, then I don't like the feeling of it. It's bad energy. Don't like it.
Yeah,
If they're there because they want to be there, but I'm not going to ask that question, am I? So I don't know. But if they're there because they want to be there, because they really enjoy it, because they like Kizzy and they don't give a shit, then that'd be great. Fine, I can enjoy it in that way. Then yeah, if I was to go to a strip club, which I can't imagine it happening now.
Can you imagine if you went in with your 20 quid for a private dance or whatever?
20 quid.
I don't know how much it is. I've forgotten.
Quid.
And
She better have a purse.
You're in Blackpool. And she better have a what?
She have to have a purse because you can't put a quid on someone, can you? So she'd be like there with a bucket. Go on and put a quid in.
Is that the northern one?
Yeah, that's the northern ones. The northern ones have got buckets. No, that's a different thing. Oh no, I better not say buckets. No, they've got some kind of device which holds coins.
Coin holder.
A coin holder.
I'd be no good. I don't carry cash now. I'd be like, can
I pay by card?
Are you contactless?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it? As a stripper, if you could have contactless nipple tassels.
No, on your knickers, you just put a QR code.
Yeah.
For a payment. Scan the QR code. Yeah.
Anyway,
innovation. Anyway, what else people saying? Scratch the itch. Yeah. Need. Okay. Don't say anything too interesting. And that's so interesting. You can see how this would impact intimacy, sexy time, blah, 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 blah. She understands. Secrets out now. Yeah, secrets out. I can't believe there's family members watching this and I'm talking about these subjects, but that's what Kizzy does to me.
Well, again, where we differ is so core values. That's something we'll cover.
We definitely need to cover core values. Yeah. That's really important.
So we have differing core values. And one of them...
We do have some crossover ones.
Yes. One of my core values is authenticity. Like that's my core value, which also includes openness. And so like nothing's really off the table. Like I would just say anything. And so I have to.
Which I also have the same one. That's the same thing as for us, isn't it? Openness.
Oh yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but you like to be more private than me, don't you?
Oh yeah. When I say openness, I mean openness between me and you as a relationship. I'm not talking about telling the world about your undies or my undies or whatever.
Oh my God, imagine on a night out if you had QR pants back in the day and be like, well, scan.
Yeah, I'll take Bitcoin. Not that she'd be dancing like that. That's how I dance. Anyway.
Do you remember that woman who walked past us with her actual vajayjay out that time?
Yeah, so a number of years ago, we was out on a night out somewhere in town, Bristol, and we were just walking along and there was a girl walking the other way and she... her vagina was completely exposed and both of her breasticles were also exposed.
Yeah, so her boobs were out of her top and her mini skirt had rolled up and she had no knickers on. And like literally it was
we just walked past and all looked at each other and went, was she naked or were we all just thinking the same thing?
Yeah.
Or was it just me? Imagining it.
Is there... Oh my God, you could have a QR tattoo. Anyway, QR code tattoo. Anyway,
yeah,
is there
copyright.
a place for core values too? Yes, sort of. There is, sort of. But perhaps we'll do that. We don't know what we're doing next week, do we?
Well, we've got a few ideas. Anyway,
one more rub for you. So
right.
Quality time.
Yeah.
So my mum and Kate, my best friend, took me to Disney for my 30th, which was the best thing ever. I mean, like, I'm the hugest Disney fan. I'd never been. So it was your Disney. It was a surprise. Now, what I didn't know is that they had asked Dan, would it be okay if they did this?
And I said no, because we're going.
Because his love language is quality time. So the thought of me experiencing Disney without
I wanted to experience it with her, go to Disney together.
As you can see, still slightly bothered by this.
And they said, shall we? Is it all right if we do it? I said, no, we're doing it. And they did it anyway. So I can't help but be mortally offended by the pair of them who were involved. And I cannot, unfortunately, forget that. I can forgive, but I cannot forget.
I was going to say, you do forgive. But yeah, but I had the best time.
Yeah, brilliant.
And
anyway,
now Dan will struggles to. So we haven't been to your Disney, and I keep pushing him. It's my 40th soon, and but for him it's tainted. Not because of that as such, but because I've been. So to him, we're not creating the memories together.
It's not a unique memory if you've already been.
That's how he views it.
Yeah.
Now, my secondary love language is quality time. So that's probably how
That's where we match.
that's probably how we've kept our marriage together.
Yeah.
But for me, it's much lower. Like acts of service is like ridiculous score. And so I don't have the same emphasis on it as you do I?
No.
Because it's your number one, isn't it?
It's my number one for sure.
Yeah. And clearly, obviously, physical touch is an issue with us. Because
she doesn't care about it. Well, she just, again, it's only a matter of priorities here. It's not like it's complete lack of care about it. It's just that there's a difference between feeling and thinking, and your priorities, your top two priorities are about feeling, and then the lower ones are just about thinking. So she can appreciate certain things physically and whatnot, but it's not the same as feeling it, is it? You know, feeling is more powerful for humans.
Really good example. When my mum died, for example, Dan cuddling me and like being physically next to me, or whatever, would have been irrelevant and unhelpful and possibly even annoying. Him making sure Hunter got to school, making sure the washing was done, taking those things from me,
taking responsibilities off you.
Yeah, that would be love.
Gold.
That would be, yeah. Now, interestingly, gifts is low for me. However, I think there's a link between acts of service and gifts, because I'm quite a thoughtful gift giver, and gifts are important. Well, it's not, is it? It's the thought you've got. It's if you're thinking of me, and if you're not, if you don't think of me, then it upsets me.
Yes.
So it's not really the gift. So that's a bit unusual.
Yeah,
Not
I think
unusual.
that is. No, I see the link, but yeah, I don't know how common that is unless you guys can speak on that. Anyway, to move things on a little bit past that, I will just say one thing for anyone who's on quality time who thinks quality time is theirs. So here's one of my pet peeves, right? And it's because of my quality time. So if we go to a restaurant or we go anywhere and we're sitting and it's supposed to be me and Kizzy on a day out doing whatever we're doing, and Kizzy gets her phone out and starts pissing around on her phone, I'm instantly angry in that moment. Just instantly angry. It's not a it's a dial-up. It's a press a button. I wasn't angry and now I am angry because she's on her phone. So the purpose of going out for that day, as far as I'm concerned, is to spend time together, to talk, to do whatever we're doing. And not to be distracted by other people and other things, and then start answering people's queries and, I don't know how to put a balm on or whatever. You put the balm on by opening the cap and then putting it on your hand and then rubbing it on your face, like all that stuff. Well, I'm just saying.
You're so ranty. I was thinking that.
Yeah, well, I am ranty. Yeah.
You've turned into like a ranty old man.
Okay, well, that's okay. So I'm just using that as an example of. So there's going to be pet peeves. Examine your pet peeves, right, and see if they're linked to your love language, right? Because it could be linked to your love language. I know mine are.
Well, and here's another example. So, I was going to go to Lapland with Hunter and a friend and her son, because we can go as a 4, which would save £1,800 per family doing it that way. Dan's not bothered about going to Lapland
per se,
at all.
Not the location.
No. So when I ran it past him, I said to my friend, I said, I don't think he's going to go for it. So because it's quality time, it's me creating those memories with Hunter without him there. Whereas it wouldn't bother me. I mean, I want to go to Lapland, but if Dan went somewhere with Hunter that I never went, if I didn't want to go, I wouldn't even think about it. Like, if you go to like a football game or something.
Yeah, I'm bothered if you have. I'm not really bothered about virtually anything, but I am bothered if you have unique experiences that I would enjoy, or that is a me-you thing, and that you enjoy them without me.
Yeah.
That does bother me.
Yeah, so
not gonna lie.
Yeah, and previously in the past, I've not realized that, have I? So I've crossed that boundary by inviting people.
Yeah, inviting people to you and me things. Yeah.
Yeah. And whereas in my head, it's not me and you.
No, it's a free for all. Anyone can come. Next door neighbours arrive. People from school she hasn't seen for 20 years, whatever. Yeah.
So Laura said, is that not more to do with the grief process rather than love language? No. I mean, I get what you're saying. Obviously, you want stuff like that done, when you're grieving because you can't function. But it's so. For example, I got a lot of gifts when Mum died. Beautiful, beautiful things, like mementos, and it meant a lot. One of the gifts I got angry at, actually. It was like a book. And I thought, what do I need a book for? Now, I also had some friends that put meals on the doorstep and things like that. I wouldn't say it meant more, but it's like, I don't know. When you know your love language, you'll be able to identify the times when
I think how you grieve is influenced by your love language. I think if you're grieving, but your love language is physical touch, I think someone showing affection to you by putting their arm around you and
you would need more hugs.
I think you would want that. And I think if you were like words of affirmation, you might people telling you it's going to be okay and explaining how and putting it into context for you and trying to like rationalize it for you might help in some way. So other people that'd be so bloody annoying. I don't want to hear that at this moment. Like,
you probably get a lot from cards, like sympathy cards.
Yeah, sympathy cards.
Would
Yeah,
be important.
Some people find cards extremely valuable. Like, I must have a card, and if someone doesn't send me a birthday card or a Christmas card, then I am their enemy. I hate them, right? And then other people just couldn't give a flying monkey who sent them a card, wouldn't even be aware who sent them a card. Like, I just don't really care about cards, right? If you sent me a card or not sent me a card, I wouldn't notice because I don't put any value in them in terms of like an expression of meaning or love. Now, that's not to say I don't appreciate them in my mind. Oh, I appreciate person A, they've sent me a card, but I just don't feel anything from it. It doesn't pass on anything to me. I don't know if they're supposed to do that or not, or if they're just a flimsy piece of card with writing on or what.
To a special couple.
To a special couple, yeah.
Card.
We are a special couple, so.
My dad, though, he got my mum once to a dear friend.
Well, they were dear friends, so it's accurate. So anyway, what I want to say, because we've got to wrap up at some point, is can you think back to times where you got upset or angry with someone through your love expression from your point of view, where you were being rejected, or maybe you got upset with someone and you can't think why? Can you think back to strifes in your life with all different types of people, whether it be your own kids, your mum and dad, your partner, work colleagues, whatever, where you could actually, if you reframe it in this context of love language, where it could have been a conflict between that. I'm sure there's lots of instances where that's not the case, but there is definitely going to be cases where love language has played a part, where you've misunderstood their meaning or not reciprocated in the right way purely because you didn't realize how important it was to them.
I've just had a massive light bulb moment.
Go on, then shine your light.
So my relationship with my dad was complicated. So he was a narcissist, and but not a born narcissist. It was because of situations. So there's a good man in there, but he was a difficult man, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. He also had 5 strokes, and it affected his brain. So I'm just thinking about when he was in the nursing home. So we figured that my dad's love language was quality time, didn't we?
Yes.
And so when he was in the nursing home, he was trying to get me to go there and do all this stuff for him.
Yeah.
And he needed me to do all this.
It's like he's trying to keep you busy all the time.
Yeah. And for me, that felt like it was so difficult. And I've just realized it's because it was acts of service, and expressing love to my dad was difficult because I was grieving my mum and because we had unresolved issues between us. And so actually all he wanted was love from me of quality time.
But they were love demands because he's demanding love from you at a time where you're trying to grieve for your mum and focus on your mum.
Yeah.
And he wasn't seemingly expressing anything towards your mum. He's simply trying to demand love and affection from you at a time where you're thinking about your mum and your mum's just died. So to you, that felt like a huge...
Well, because of his age and because he was in the nursing home, I had to do his shopping and I had to sort his bills out.
And so you had to shower him and all that.
And shower him. So I had to do acts of... Well, I didn't have to.
It's a lot of acts of service.
Thing, but yeah, a lot of acts of service, which he didn't even blink an eye at.
No.
Because it won his love language.
No.
So yeah, I just
to him it was for him it's quality time. He's spending time with his daughter, and he's finding ways to trap you there to spend quality time with you, or to get any time with you, because he fears that you're not going to spend time with him.
Yeah.
Or he did fear. Obviously, he's not around now. Anyway, so filter your life through love language and see where it applies. again, last opportunity. Pop link in comments if you want to take the test, and we'll send you the link where you can take the test. Get your partner to try it. Get your kids to try it. Get anyone who's interested to try it, and see the differences and discuss between yourselves. It might be illuminating for both of you, or for all of you, if you were to do this. And I put on here to discuss our own other languages, but we've already done that, so we don't need to do that.
No, that's it.
We've done.
We're done.
What did you think, guys? Did you enjoy that? Was it illuminating? Were there any light bulb moments for you? Can you see moments of conflict in new eyes?
I was thinking about, the whole story when everyone came to my sleepover and bought me pig gifts, and it was like super upsetting. I was thinking about how it wasn't about it. It's never been about the words.
No.
And I've never really understood that. Like, and that's what it came to me when I said I'm not bothered by trolls. Like it's not about that. It was about like them again crossing a boundary, like quality time, my sleepover. That is my secondary love language. And they use that against me.
Disrespect.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people said it was interesting and they enjoyed it. Right. What we're going to be doing then, just for a heads up, I don't know the exact subject, but there's a number of subjects that we're going to be covering. And some of we are going to do some of like psychological testing, different types, where you can discover your own personality types. And they're really scarily accurate. We're not talking about the ones you get on Facebook. I mean, proper psychological testing ones that you can go and do for free. And you can find out your psychology profile, and you can really get to grips with understanding yourself, because a lot of this, what we're talking about, is about getting to know yourself, understanding yourself, furthering yourself, improving yourself, which is a lifelong process. But you can't do that if you haven't got the breakdown of who you are, truthfully. So I think it's highly illuminating, and it's kind of like what we've done today. This is just one aspect of it, but we're going to do all different aspects of psychology as well.
It's helped us, hasn't it, love?
Absolutely.
Like we have more peace, more ease, more everything, because
much more forgiving of each other.
Yeah, and just ourselves as well, like an understanding of ourselves.
There's much less friction in that regard, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
And there has been for like good 10 years or so.
It's a little bit like, I mean, so I batch cooked a load of food today, didn't I? And I realised that that was an act of service for my future self, if that makes sense. And it's made me think about other things that I can do and do. So I've planned my weeks, I forgot, I don't know how many years now. And I reckon that's to do with that, like an
acts of service for yourself,
for myself. Yeah,
past Kizzy to future Kizzy.
Yeah, that makes me feel better, whatever. So
serve yourself.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So love you. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for that. If you did appreciate this and wanted to express it through gift giving, Ko-Fi is the place to go. You can buy us a drink, buy us a lovely tea.
So if you go into Google and put Ko-Fi, Kofi, and just put Kizzy Harvey in the search, there's an option to buy like a cup.
Now, gift giving is low on both our priorities. However, we will feel warm and fuzzy because that doesn't apply to cash. Because I'm Northern as well. So you got to play all these things into play with each other, don't they? And because I'm Northern, it changes the ranking there. Right. Only joking, obviously. Right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. See you again. Have a great week, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.